Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, you're very welcome. I'm Jane and my husband Mike does everything behind the camera. We're British early retirees, we have no debt, we've paid off the mortgage, and we live a thrifty, frugal and money-saving life here in Brittany in northwest France. And every Friday we bring you something food related. This is week 3 of us having to, not choosing to, having to halve our food budget. We usually have €400 a month food budget, supermarket budget. That's all food, all drink, all toiletries, cleaning products, bathroom products, everything. Teas, coffee, snacks, everything. And we have had to reduce it due to reduced income down to $200 a month. Now we're going to put a link below to the stock check we did at the beginning of the month to show you what we had at the beginning of the month. At the beginning of July, we'll do another one of those to show you how we're going to get through July as well. So I'm going to go through the shopping haul this week, and I'm also going to go through, you're also going to see in this video, some of the meals that we eat this week. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. Got any questions? Leave a question below. If I answer your question, will you please at least give it a thumbs up, or would you give it a little thank you comment afterwards? Because I sometimes think I might be talking to myself. Anyway, we read all your comments. We enjoy every single one of them. Let's get on with the shopping haul. After that, you will see the meals of the week. This week I spent $49.91. I went over, I succumbed, and I bought butter. What kind of world we're living in now, price-wise, when a luxury that you just think, oh, go on, let's have it, is a packet of butter. Nonetheless, let's get on with what we bought this week. So if you come down here, we have got what I call Mike's bread. Mike's bread of $1.62. Now, what happens is we have a main meal of the day, and our second meal of the day is usually a sandwich. Mike will have crusty bread then, and for his breakfast, he usually has a couple of pieces of bread toasted with marmalade. So that's kind of that's breakfast. $1.62 a loaf. Then we have $3.88. So like I've told you before, we have a main meal of the day and then a small meal. It's usually a sandwich. I make myself a loaf of gluten-free bread. And we usually have ham or salad or egg sandwich, or I have sardines on toast. And that's our second meal of the day, so $3.88. I've then got a kilo of gluten-free flour. This is with the reduced price today, so it's 34% off today. So that's the flour. I've got 12 Greek yogurts. People ask us, how do we keep our protein levels up? We usually have a Greek yogurt a day. If I make gluten-free pizza base, I use yogurt in the making of that too. This was a bit expensive today. I've completely run out of gluten-free pasta. So I've got one box is €1.03 and one box is €1.50. Keep us going. I've got eggs at $1.70. I have got a block of Emmental cheese, also expensive. We'll be very sparing with that. That's the sort of thing that we might have in an evening meal with a piece of bread. That's $4.19. Butter, this was the budget buster this week. $4.89. $4.89, that's 500 grams, which works out to be 1 imperial pound of butter. I've got onions of $1.79 a kilo. Milk, this is long life UHT shelf stable milk. That's 96 cents a litre. Come back down the front here. This is the bread that Mike will have for his evening meal. So each one of these, he cuts into 3. I freeze these for the week, and then he'll have a sandwich for his evening meal. And that was £2.85 for the 4. I had a very snotty remark once about us eating industrial bread and not going to the artisan boulangerie. Did you know this, people watching? Most village bakeries across France now aren't baking their own bread. They're buying it in and cooking it on the premises. However, this is from Lidl and it's £2.85, and anyone who doesn't like what we buy doesn't have to eat what we eat. Then I've got, and this one was really good value this week, a really good, great big iceberg lettuce grown in Brittany. Prince de Bretagne is literally, that's just grown up the road from us. So that's an iceberg lettuce, keep us going for the week. I've got 3 peppers, £2.29. I've got a packet of salt, 53 cents. A bottle, a jar of black pepper, 69 cents. I've got 4 courgettes. We had a little laugh about this, from Perpignan, £1.19. I've got 2 aubergines here, 99 cents. I will make up, I'll do some batch cooking here, and I'll do a load of Musaka. If you saw last week's video, you see I'm filling up the freezer with easy meals to keep us going. So those were 99 cents. Kind of a treat for Mike here, £1.39 for a packet of digestive biscuits. They're not very sweet. You can eat them like a cracker with a piece of cheese. I've got a big white cabbage here, £2.49. That will make many, many meals. I've got onions, you saw. I've got carrots in the fridge, and I will do homemade coleslaw. It's a very economical salad. I've got a small, I think that doesn't tell me the weight. Yep, I've got half a kilo of red onions, lovely in a salad here, 99 cents. I've got a kilo of tomatoes, super in a salad again, and that's £1.61. Here is our lunch today. I've just cooked some pasta, and then I chopped up some courgettes, some yellow pepper and some lardons. I sauteed the vegetables and the lardons together, and then I added that to the cooked pasta. I had a jar of red pesto in the cupboard. Threw that in together. There we go. Pasta, pesto, bacon, courgettes and peppers. Here is our lunch today. We've got beef burgers. I showed the beef burgers in the shopping haul. They're 100% beef. There's nothing in it. Just beef and a bit of salt. And they come in a funny shape, they're not round here. Anyway, I have mine in a bowl with salad. Mike has his with some salad in some toasted burger buns. Let's pop those on top for him. There we are, he's got a couple of burgers. And I have my burgers in a bowl. There we go, it's burger day. For lunch today, we have homemade meatballs, homemade fries I've cooked in the air fryer, chips as we call them, the proper name, and green beans. I got the recipe from the IKEA website along with their sauce recipe. And if you've ever been to IKEA and had their meatballs, chips and their sauce, you know it's wonderful. And if you haven't and you've got an IKEA near you, you need to try it one day. So there we have it, and we have a few chips and meatballs left over there that we might have with our evening meal. So there we go, homemade chips, meatballs, IKEA sauce and green beans. Hello everybody, we're back to quiche again for lunch today. Quiche is a great way of using everything up. I make the quiche with pastry on it, and when I have mine, I just cut the pastry of it because I don't eat it. I haven't made a an oil-based salad dressing for this yet, but I will. So we've got usual thing, lettuce, cucumber, tomato and beetroot, and homemade quiche. I had about 1/4 of a bag of leeks to use up, 1/10 of a bag of little potatoes to use up. I had a tiny handful of lardons. I had some of the meatballs I made yesterday left over, so I've cut those. Everything that you can put in a quiche, you just shove it in there. And then obviously I add eggs and creme fraiche. So there we go. Like I said, I'll cut the pastry off mine because I don't eat the pastry. And we've got quiche and we've got salad. And as I said, I will make some salad dressing to put on that. I am going to make some version of a cottage pie. I've kind of looked at my meal plan today and looked at all of it and went, you know what, I don't fancy any of that today. So I've had a scrounge through the back of the cupboard and a scrounge through the freezer and thought, what have I got that I need to use it up, but I can make something. And I'm going to make kind of like a cottage pie. So I'm going to chop my onion and saute it, add in some chopped vegetables and saute that along with it too. When they're all cooked and soft, I will chuck in some cubed corned beef, stir it through, season it with a stock cube, maybe this ketchup sachet I've got lying around and the salt I've got lying around. Put that in a dish, top it off with a tin of potato gratin. I've got a little bit of cheese in the fridge, sprinkle some grated cheese on top and put it in the oven. And serve that with some green beans. So let's see how that all turns out at the end. I'm sure it'll be fine. So here are the finished results with green beans. So you can see it's kind of like a corned beef hash with vegetables underneath, scalloped potatoes on top, which cook in their own sauce so they're not dry. And there's one, and there's the other one. Turned out quite well for a woman who really didn't want to cook today. Let's turn that around for you so you can see how it's turned out. And it's something else used up from in my pantry that needs using up, because if you don't know, we are leaving this house at the end of August and I don't want to waste anything, so I'm making sure we eat everything up. So there we go, there is lunch today. Here are our lunches today. Mike has got a veggie chilli with chopped up sweet potatoes that I cooked in the air fryer, a little bit of oil, and he's got a spoonful of creme fraiche on top, which is the same as sour cream. I have got a Chinese curry. I went on Google and I found on BBC Chinese curry sauce, which basically tastes like British chip shop curry sauce. I've got mixed frozen vegetables in it and white beans. That's my dog next door squeaking. And I've got sweet potatoes that are cooked in the air fryer. What we're going to have for dinner tonight is the same again, but we will have it with rice. We've got it with sweet potatoes. I was going to chop sweet potatoes up and put them in and then have rice on the side, and that just felt like too many carbs, too stodgy for me. So there we go. Mike's got chilli. I've got Chinese curry sauce with vegetables, and we've got the same again for dinner tonight, and tonight we'll have it with rice. I'm making Musaka today. If you want to know how to make it, if you put in the search box of YouTube, Frugal Queen in France, Musaka, I show you how to make my meat version, and I also show you how to make my vegetarian version. But in the bottom, I have parboiled some potatoes, tossed them in a little oil and cook them in my air fryer, and that's a layer of potatoes. On top of the potatoes, I have put in a layer of aubergines. I just washed the aubergines, cut it into slices, tossed it in oil, air fried them for 15 minutes, or about 12 minutes I think. And then so that's a layer of aubergines on top of the potatoes. Next goes a very thin meat layer. Traditionally people use minced lamb. I can't get minced lamb, so I had some minced beef, some ground beef that I bought when it had a 30% off reduced sticker. It's the only time I buy reduced beef. And again, like I said, if you put in the search box, Frugal Queen in France, Musaka, you'll see me make this. And that's the meat layer. The next layer on top is kind of like an egg custard layer. So I make a bechamel sauce that I season with salt, pepper, and nutmeg. I then temper the sauce, which means I beat some eggs and I add some of the sauce into the eggs. Once the sauce has cooled down a bit, and I beat in 3 eggs across the 2 musakas and then thickened it all together, and I added in some grated cheese. And you might be thinking, what's that? And I'll show you there. I caught it on the bottom of my pan. I do not carefully curate what you see here when I show you food. It is what it is. And it's like if you make custard, anybody who's British made custard, you'll catch the custard on the bottom of the pan and you just eat it. Just eat it anyway. So there it is, and if it looks a bit lumpy, it's because the cheese hasn't fully melted in it. This is now going to go into the oven. And there is the finished result. So each of the musakas that I showed you, that is a quarter of it, with a ton of salad. We don't put any dressing on salad if what we have to eat is wet in any way. We don't need it wetting, we eat it with that. And then there's another one there. First one came out looking really nice. It's got all its layers of potato underneath, its cheesy bechamel layer on top. So there it is. Today we have moussaka and salad. Here is our lunch today. We have fish, chips and peas. I didn't have any oil left, or just about a spoonful of oil left. So I have steamed the pollock and I have cooked the chips in the air fryer, and we've got that with a few peas as well, which I've tossed in a little bit of butter. It's the end of the week, shopping day later, fish, chips and peas. Didn't fry the fish, but it's okay, it's all right. When you cook fish deep fried in batter, the fish inside is steamed. There's one plate and there's the other. Well, thank you for watching week 4 of our reduced to €50 a week shopping budget and our meals of the week that we make from that €50 a week. Thank you for watching. Thank you a million for hitting that thumbs up button. Thank you for all of your comments. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.